you've written several books called Eat What You Love and Love What You Eat. And this is the latest edition, am I correct or not?
Second to the most recent. There's a new one for students as well.
Perfect. Okay, this is the one you gave me. What is so special or unique about this book? Why should people have this as a tool?
You know, Eat What You Love and Love What You Eat is really about learning how to eat fearlessly and mindfully. And I know you and I have had conversations about that. So many people are operating on fear. They're afraid to eat. They're afraid to make choices. They're afraid of doing the wrong thing. They're afraid of their disordered eating behaviors. So this book is really designed to give people different tools and skills for making decisions about food that free up their energy to go out and live their lives. The Love What You Eat piece is really about mindful eating. Paying so much attention to food in your body out of respect for the food and your body, not with the intention of restricting or being good, but feeling good. This book was written for people who struggle with binge eating and overeating, and so it's really for people who need to learn more emotional regulation skills, who are struggling with identifying what their emotions are, maybe don't notice what their thoughts are and how they're driving their behaviors. And it also helps people connect their feelings and their moods to their needs. Because after all, isn't that what people need, is to meet those needs better than using food?
Definitely. Your books, if I'm correct, are especially written for people who overeat or binge eating. But I found a lot of similarities between people who are anorectic or bulimic.
You just have to get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing.
This particular method of managing eating is definitely applicable to anybody who is struggling with food, as I did.
What is your definition of mindfulness?
It's just awareness of the present moment without judgment.
Without
Yeah, it's so simple.
Yes.
Awareness of the present moment without judgment. So many of us who struggle with disordered eating have a lot of judgment, and we're worried about other people judging us. With eating, I love to think of mindfulness as eating with intention and attention. So that's really about eating with purpose and awareness. So my favorite purpose for eating is I want to feel better when I'm done than I did when I started. Intention.
Yes.
I want to feel better when I'm done than I did when I started. When I have that kind of intention for my eating, then it means I'm going to wait till I'm hungry. I'm probably not going to wait until I'm too hungry, because that can be a trigger for overeating for some of us. I'm going to choose foods I really love, and I'm going to eat them in a way that brings me pleasure. Then, at the end of the meal, I'm going to feel better than when I started.
In your speech earlier on, you made the example of a car. A car needs fuel, so does the body. Correct.
We have to fuel our bodies in order to be able to function fully. Now, the good news is that unlike cars, we not only get fuel, but we get pleasure from food. And I think food should be pleasurable. I really think that if we're going to resolve our difficult struggling with food, I think we need to learn to love food more, not less.
And there's so many people who I coach in the Netherlands who have rules about food. This is good and that's bad, and I shouldn't do that. Not after 8 o'clock at night, or breakfast. I should have my breakfast. All these rules. What do you think about all these rules?
You said it. You said I should.
I hate that word.
It is a terrible word, because it makes us feel as though we're struggling to do what we're supposed to do, to be good. And if we're not good, then we're bad.
And did you have a moment in your life where you got out of that cycle? You call it the
Eat, repent, repeat cycle.
eat, repent, repeat cycle.
Yes.
How did you get out of that cycle yourself?
Well, it took time. I mean, I would love to say it happened immediately. It didn't not happen immediately. I didn't have the tools. It took a while for me to really understand what was going on. And in fact, that's the reason I do the work that I do. It's the reason I write the books and do the trainings, is because I don't want people to have to work so hard or try to figure this out for themselves. But I did have a moment where I suddenly thought, this isn't working for me. And it doesn't seem to matter how hard I try or what diet I try or how many times I restart or how much willpower. I clearly need to find a new way to do this because it's taking all my time and energy, and I deserve better things in my life. That was
Try. You don't have to try. You don't have to try.
Yeah, so how do you think we can break down that taboo, the cycle of shame?
shame is a huge driver. It's a huge driver for overeating. It's a huge driver for binging and restricting, and it also prevents people from asking for help. One of the things that I really love to do is to teach people about the mindful eating cycle. That's the basis of all of my books, all of our workshops, all of our work. Because what happens when people hear it or hear me say it or they read it, they think, wait a minute, this isn't just me. And they can see in the mindful eating cycle why they eat drives every other decision that follows. And when they begin to recognize that, they say, well, it was predictable that I would go down this path if I make choices based on these decisions. So the shame begins to fall away when they realize that, of course you binge eat when this happens.
And you say when this happens, what are the core emotions or the driving factors that cause this cycle to go over and over and over, to repeat?
So many things. So many things. Whether it's overeating, disordered eating, binge eating. So many of us are trying to meet our emotional needs through food or not eating in some cases. And so this recognizing that these emotional drivers, so here's the way I like to teach people about it. Emotions are energy. They're your body's energy. They're your body's messaging system that tells you that you have a need. So for example, if I'm angry, my body is trying to tell me with all that emotion that I need to fix something, that there's something going on that has me out of balance, or that has me, that I need to address something. Now, sometimes I can't fix it. I can't change other people's behaviors. I can't maybe do anything about the traffic or something my boss did or said or whatever. But I can choose my response to that situation. And when I recognize that anger, if instead of stuffing down food to make the anger go away,
To
numb it, because it's energy. So when you press it down, you're not making the energy go away, you're actually building up the energy.
Yes.
And so when you let it go, it pops back up again. So learning how to address anger by having a conversation, or meditating, or taking a walk, or talking to your coach or your therapist, or whatever it is that you need to do to help you address those feelings in a real way. Gradually you become more confident in your ability to address your feelings and meet your needs without food. And then
I want to thank you for your time and for the book. You've given me this book, and I also want to give you the book I wrote, which is also for families. It's a coach tool. It's called The Wolves in Sheep Clothing.
thank you. Wow, the 5 steps to beat an eating disorder. Perfect. I will have pride in this in my library.
It is especially written for anorexic and bulimia, but there's also examples there for overeating. Because the way I see it, and you probably agree from what I've heard, is that it all comes down to emotion regulation. So no matter whether it's anorexia, bulimia, or binge eating, just look deep down in yourself to see which emotions drive you. And
It's not about the food. It's not about the food.
it's so funny, eating disorders are not about eating.
Ironically. Well, thank you.